You're muted, Kimber.
Oh,
You're muted.
no, I was
Nailed it
today, and I'm muted. Wow. Well, I already failed at being Bob today, but that's okay. We're gonna press on. It's because I never mute myself, and that was, of course, the one time. But in today's episode of Stormwatch, we are talking with Mary N. Chaney, the CEO of Minorities in Cybersecurity, otherwise known as MiC, an organization addressing representation for minority leaders in cybersecurity. So we're going to have a wonderful conversation with her. Excited to have her. And then in the latter part of the episode, we're going to talk about blogs from Census and Vulncheck and see what GreyNoise has to say as well about the following. Let's see. Edge security products, Black Basta, and Cisco vulnerabilities by Salt Typhoon. It's going to be great. I am not reading the whole AI summary, Bob, but
I knew she would chicken out.
I can't do it. It's so cheesy.
Bob, do you need to read the AI summary? We got to be consistent. Now you're muted.
Wow, it's just the curse of muting today.
It's the curse of mute. Yeah, well, so Bob isn't even Bob today. That's great. It's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
Let's all check our mics for a second.
I'm so sorry, Mary. Usually we're much more professional than this.
It's perfectly fine. I'm having a great lot of time. Have some fun. Right?
But we are happy to have you. And do we have, just thorns and roses? How's everybody doing this week? Mary, what are you looking forward to this week?
What am I looking forward to? Continuing to plan for our third annual conference and getting all of the things in order. It's usually a busy time for us in the first quarter of the year. So as we lead into our conference. So yeah, I'm busy doing that and actually busy talking to our new cohort of apprentices that just started last Thursday. So it's a busy calendar week.
We caught you on a busy week.
Yes. It's okay now.
Imija, what are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to the end of February.
Oh, wow.
Because when you can at the end in this weird transitional time when you can kind of smell spring coming, you just get a whiff of it in the air. I love that. I love smelling things coming alive again. Not zombies, just good. In case, just clarifying.
Good old fashioned.
But zombies never come alive, right? Again.
What is being alive? Truly, who can say?
Starting with the deep questions today. Glenn, what are you looking forward to this week?
I wholeheartedly mean this, but I've been looking forward to this conversation since we had kind of a prep talk on Thursday. Mary just makes me really excited, and I love to hear her talk. And so I'm looking forward to this moment right now. How's that?
It's happening.
Whoa.
It's all happening.
Dreams do come true.
Bob, are you optimistic at all this week?
We are supposed to get more snow this week, so at Thursday. So we might get 2 more inches Thursday and 2 more inches on Saturday. So yes, I am definitely looking forward to that this week.
What's on the ground right now?
Got about 12 inches still snowpack.
Wow.
Did you go snowshoeing? You said you were going snowshoeing.
I was not feeling up to snowshoeing this weekend, Glenn. Thanks for reminding me about that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. I'll ask again next week.
I genuinely do not know what I'm looking forward to this week, but I will say that this conversation was definitely on the list, not to steal Glenn's, because usually Glenn is a glory stealer. But I am stealing.
I like to think of it that we're usually in tune.
Yeah.
But you could call it stealing, whatever.
I actually became even more excited to talk on Stormwatch this morning because Glenn sent me 8 reels this morning. And I just kept seeing the notifications pop up. And I was like, it's going to be
I'm seeking joy where I can find it right now.
Yeah, it was great.
Very cool.
So I think that we're gonna have a lot to.
Overwatch. What are you looking forward to?
Aw, the Overwatch
Okay.
is also pulling a Glenn and excited to hear this convo.
I'm a
This
trendsetter.
will, yeah,
Let's
this
go.
will be the best podcast of the year. Like this will absolutely be the best episode of the year.
No pressure,
mean,
Mary. Although by
no
so far
pressure.
in this show,
We're setting the bar high for
we've been
2025.
bumper carring in the first 9 minutes or whatever we're at. 5 minutes.
We are setting the bar high because Mary is a badass, is what I learned on
Yes.
Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
This morning. Mary, would you like to give your introduction of yourself and what Minorities in Cyber is?
Absolutely. And thank you that they're badass. I'll take that. And I'll keep that. And so no, as everyone says, my name is Mary Chaney, CEO of Minorities in Cybersecurity, as well as our subsidiary MiC Talent Solutions. I have over 30 plus years of experience in cybersecurity, risk management, and privacy. I am a IT geek by training. I have my bachelor's degree is information systems. I'm an engineer by training that went to law school, became a licensed attorney, and then promptly shelved that license and went into the FBI. So I was a special agent for the FBI and investigating cybercrime. So back then, when I was, I say way back when, I was, yeah, way back when. And some people say it makes me sound old, but I am old. I am of age, right? I love the experience I've had, but it was auction fraud, eBay, denial of service attack cases, things that at the very beginning, what we used to fight in this field in regards to just basically network intrusions, right, on that stack. And so after leaving the FBI, I tried my first hand at being an entrepreneur. I was a consultant for about 4 or 5 years before entering into my corporate career. I was an executive at GE Capital, director of incident response, but that I did a lot of different things. I did incident response. I did data leak prevention. I did database security. I did forensics and e-discovery. Well, my team did. I led the team. And then transitioned where a global role where I was the director of the Security Operations Center for Johnson & Johnson, where I stood up and ran their Security Operations Center, strategically developed based on the kill chain back then, but ran a team of upwards of 30 folks. And then went into a short stint with Comcast, where I was a senior director out of operations, did more so third-party risk management, data efficacy and things of that nature. And then I went and was a director of information security and privacy for a small therapeutic organization called Asperion. So over the course of my career, I've done a lot of different things in this space. One of the things that prompted me to create Minorities in Cybersecurity is because I was always the only one. Right. I entered into corporate America as an executive. So I didn't matriculate up through a organization's chain. I came out of the FBI and went in as an executive, but in every organization that I was in, I was the only, whether it be the only female or the only African American. It just bothered me. And so when I got on the speaking circuit, I started on the speaking circuit in about 20. Oh Lord, I was going to say 20. Yeah, I guess it was 2012 when I took my first corporate role. And I would always have individual women of color, women, men of color, girl dads that had daughters that are in the space, wanting me to be a mentor. And so up until 2019, we would have these monthly mentoring sessions where we would get together and talk about the challenges the individuals were facing in building their career. And what became readily apparent to me shortly after having these conversations was that their challenges in growing their career had really nothing to do with their intelligence or their technical acumen. It was everything else, and feeling like they actually we're respected in the environment, dealing with unconscious bias, dealing with all of these things that doesn't have anything to do with how you perform, how you show up and do your job. And so I said, there's something here. So in 2019, I started Minorities in Cybersecurity as a leadership development organization. We give people the tools that they need earlier on in their career to be able to matriculate up and through and into their corporate career. So what that means is that our organization is broken down into 4 individual groups, and we're equally represented, about 25% apiece at each group. So we have our MiC aspirers, which are those that are looking to get into the cybersecurity space, looking to figure out how to build out their career, or which area of the profession they want to go into. And for those individuals, we have our YouTube channel that we, host every bi-monthly, that we talk to individuals in the industry about their origin story. How did they get into the space? What are they doing? What's the vibe? What's going on out there? Then we have our builders, and our builders are those that are in their first cybersecurity role, or their first technology role, their first corporate role, and they're just like, okay, what do I do now that I've made it in? Because we make it incredibly hard to get in the door. But once I'm in the door, how do I build out my subject matter expertise? And that for the MiC builders, we have the MiC Lead Builders course, and that is a 5-month course, and we take them through giving them tools on how to do such that, build out your career. And then we have our MiC communicators, which are those that are making that very difficult transition from individual contributor to people leader. And the communicators, we have a MiC Lead Communicators course for them, and that's a 6-month course, taking them through strategic program development, taking them through brand building, all these other things that they need to be able to be successful as a people leader. And then we have our MiC directors, and our MiC directors are those that have reached the director level, looking to possibly get into the C level and ultimately boards of directors. So Minorities in Cybersecurity stays with each individual as they matriculate through their career. And then in 2022, I established MiC Talent Solutions, which is our for-profit subsidiary, where we ultimately, the thought was, if we're training leaders, we should be able to place leaders. So it is a non-traditional recruitment and placement firm, in as much as we work with, and we only exclusively work with the talent that we are developing to get them into the space. So that's my spiel.
It's also like, there's so many levels. Like, you have thought of every single level possible, and just the support that's needed in each one of those, which I think is really impressive. But the first question that I have for you is, what made you say, this is the moment that I'm hopping to this? Like, was there something that you saw or experienced, or was it just the time where you felt the most confident in your abilities?
Well, I don't lack confidence, dear Kimber, at all.
Did you say like or lack?
Lack.
Okay.
I don't lack confidence. But essentially, it was when I decided to leave corporate, right? And if you are an entrepreneur out there and you understand the ebbs and flows of running a corporation or running an entity, you can realize that if your undivided attention is not given to it, it won't be as successful as it can be. And so what made me step out of corporate and go into both of these entities full time in 2022 was, it was just, I wasn't getting the traction that I felt that we needed to have, and I needed to focus. And so it was marrying my passion and purpose. I love that you guys have heard. I've looked at cybersecurity from so many different avenues, whether it be from an analyst perspective, whether it be from a legal perspective, whether it be tangentially from a privacy perspective, looking at contracts, looking at investigating cybercrime, doing forensics, all of these things. So I love the space. I just felt that I can't leave this space without leaving it better than it was when I got here. And, when I was a newbie coming into corporate America. I didn't see a lot of people that were there to be a mentor. So my goal is to give back. And so the courage to step out there was just, it was a calling for me to just be able to do something to help, because I felt like I could.
Yeah. One of the points that you mentioned in the beginning was that, like, when you're in the industry and you are a minority, people start seeking you out for mentorship, whether you like it or not.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
like, I personally love it. Like, I love, like, when other women or other queer people come to me and are like, hey, how do I get where you're at? Like, what did you do? Because I'm feeling this particular way about getting into the industry. And the way that cybersecurity has this exceptionally corporate side, there is a corporateness inherently to cybersecurity or information security as an idea, but then hacker culture itself is incredibly diverse. Like, there's, not only just worldwide culturally diverse, but just within those little microcosms, culturally diverse. So I feel like cybersecurity is missing out on this whole realm of hacker culture that is just like, how do I even break into that? And we are these little streams that can break that, or maybe just say, hey, we just have to learn the script. So is that what it feels like to you? Do you feel like there's a script to learn for people who might be a minority?
Well, when it comes to underrepresented groups, right? Okay, so you mentioned hacker culture, and that's a completely different culture than corporate culture. And when they marry in this profession called cybersecurity, there is this idea, or an unfortunate idea, that there's only one demographic that can handle the corporate aspects of things, as opposed to hacking culture, and threat actors don't really care. Talent is talent.
Yep.
And so it's trying to give the individuals that may come from hacker culture or may come from non-corporate culture, because again, the talented ones don't really get into corporate, right?
No, of course not.
And so giving them, if that's what they want to do, giving them that toolkit to be able to be successful, because there's a new language that you have to learn when you transition into corporate spaces, right? And it's not good, bad, or otherwise, it just is. And so I feel that the reason why we do the things that we do with minorities in cybersecurity is to get people different tools in their toolkit. And I know we talked about Krav Maga earlier, pre-screening, but last night in self-defense class, there were different toolkits, right? Different punches, different techniques, different things that you can, you may not have in a street fight. However, you need to know how to do them. And so when you're transitioning from from a space that you're not used to, corporate speak, you need assistance with that. And that's what our leadership programs are designed to do.
Do you find that there's more people who have taken like the non-traditional path who reach out to you, or is it people who've like maybe they graduated high school with high GPAs, they went to university, like they did these things, or is it strictly like the non-traditional path?
Yes, yes, and yes. So it's
all the above.
everything. It's all the above. And when those that are looking to get into space. So when we look in the because we have a national registered apprenticeship program. And so we take individuals, and a lot of those individuals are either they have a degree in something completely different and they're trying to get into cybersecurity. They have a degree and certifications in cybersecurity and still haven't been able to find a job opportunity, or they're transitioning. They may be a nurse, or they may be in retail, and they're looking to see if this is the proper fit for them. And all of those folks are in our program. So we go from Gen A. I think we have folks in their 20s all the way to folks upwards of 60. So again, it all depends on where they are, and what they're looking to do in this space. And we try to provide them with basic level training, basic level cybersecurity training to assist them in understanding if this is, because cybersecurity, information security is a passion, right? Or at least it should be. and to see which area they're passionate about, because not everybody wants to code, right? Not everybody wants to be in risk management. And so there are so many different things and spaces in cybersecurity, information security that are there. It's just sparking that curiosity of which way they want to go.
Well, and the like dissonance of being told that you have to blend into this culture if you want to get a job into it, and then like also wanting to do something that you're actually passionate about. So showing up for work isn't terrible. So
Right.
a hard thing to navigate. Go ahead, Glenn.
Mary, I wanted to ask about, so one thing that I think is very underappreciated in our space in general is transferable skills. And you just kind of touched on that with talking about nurses and some other folks. So like what, I guess like what have you seen, maybe some examples of success stories for folks that have completely changed career paths into this field? You know, maybe if you can, like what was their background? How did it help them out in this field? What did it do for cybersecurity? Like looking at these problems from a different mindset. Because for me, it's something that's completely underappreciated, and there's a lot of intimidation factor when folks are considering like switching fields because they find, you know, something happened in their life and they're like, hey, this is actually pretty interesting. I want to do that, but I'm only a lawyer, which is something I've heard, right? Which is not an only kind of situation. But just if you had some examples or stories in that realm.
Yeah, I mean, it okay, so I'm going to take the long way around and answer your question. I always hire for passion, right? And when I had teams and I had job opportunities out there, you can't discount the passion aspect of it, right? And I will tell you and everybody else who would ever hear me talk, I'm not a big fan of certifications, right? I mean, they come in. I've had individuals tell me that the certification got them the interview, but they're not even using it. So the question becomes, well, why are they creating this barrier? And so when I talk to those professionals, like for instance, for real estate folks specifically, I said, you need to be in cybersecurity sales. Again, at the end of the day, that the skill of being able to sell services is something that your average technologist just doesn't know how to do. And so your salespeople, those folks that are out there that if you're looking for cybersecurity sales folks, look at the folks that, you know, because of the real estate market or because of some other thing can't do that, and teach those skills can be transferred and be able to get them to be salespeople for you. So there, even with nurses, I tell the nurses on that are in our program, healthcare is your best ticket. The best way to understand cybersecurity is to understand the business, because regardless of what you think, as we mentioned before, there's a corporateness to it. You are a risk management professional. There's an understanding of the business that is required for you to be a successful cybersecurity professional, period. And so any individual out there that knows anything about, for instance, a nurse, healthcare, teach them the cybersecurity aspects of it. I've had individuals that we've placed that have been, you know, that taking care of their family members, and they've decided, okay, well, I want to do cybersecurity because the caregiver. It's not giving me what I need. So they go to school, they do the studying, they get the certifications. They just need a shot. So that individual is placed with one of our employee partners in our apprenticeship program. So all is to be said, you need a shot. You need to take chances on individuals that come from diverse spaces, diverse mindsets, transferable skills, in order to get us out of where we are, which is in a crisis from a national security perspective.
One of the best sales folks that I've ever worked with in cybersecurity, her job prior to doing cybersecurity sales was selling roofs. And she was fantastic at her role. It was great.
Absolutely. So there are, like you said, pockets of the population as we start to talk about where they fit in this space, right? We still have, according to cyberseek.org, 470,000 open cybersecurity roles out there. And so it becomes a, how do we shore up that gap? How do we get people interested, and not only interested, but giving them an opportunity to be successful by giving them a job? You know, our apprenticeship program, our apprentices are contractors. They have to earn their keep, right? And so it becomes like, go ahead, give them a shot. Some will, I will guarantee you, especially those in my program, and hopefully the ones that are listening right now, we are not going to fail, right? They have that grit needed to be able to get involved and learn. You know, if you can read, you can learn, right?
Yeah, I
Kind of
think.
before. Oh, go ahead.
Tim. No, go ahead, Imogen.
I was going to say, kind of on this topic, right, of people from diverse, prior careers, and reimagining what a more what a new culture might be that is different from the dominant culture. I want to take a step back. Mary, I love the name of your organization, Minorities in Cyber, or MiC. I see maybe a symbolism with a mic and giving a mic to different groups.
I love the microphone.
Can you talk a little bit about the word minority? Because I think, everyone here and among our listeners probably imagines some sort of group when we think of minorities. I notice that it tends to fall along lines of identity, like things like ethnicity or race or gender. But can you talk a little bit more about what you define minority as, especially in the cyberspace, and maybe some definitions of that word that people don't consider?
I don't define it. Honestly, I help everybody. And if you are underrepresented in the space, meaning you look different, meaning you come from a different place, whether you're an immigrant, whether you're a woman, whether you first generation, whether you're whatever it is you are. I've had white men go through our apprenticeship program, but that was neurodiverse, right? I think it does a disservice to try to define it, because and okay, you didn't touched upon a nerve, so bear with me. Because, for instance, you guys know about Target, and you know all the things that have happened to Target. Well, and society may view it to be DEI, and what happened was, again, Target was sued based upon their LGBTQ initiatives during Pride Month, and they lost billions of dollars for that particular focus. But then when they came out to say they got rid of their DEI initiatives, it was they got rid of their Black employee targets and their supplier diversity types of contracts that they were looking to give out to Black and Black-owned businesses. So it becomes, okay, so they're getting sued because of one version, which is LGBTQ, because of Pride Month, but then they're getting rid of the Black initiatives. We're all in this together. At the end of the day, we are more powerful by not slicing the pie, by just saying we're just underrepresented entirely. So I don't get into it. I'm asked that question by corporate. Just because I'm a Black woman does not mean Minorities in Cybersecurity is specifically for Black women. It is for everyone that feels like I need help to get into this space, and that's what I'm here to do.
Glenn really wants me to bring up, so not every week, but most weeks, Jordan runs a poll for us across 3 social media platforms. Jordan came up with some really great questions for this one, and we all had a chance to see it yesterday, and we had our own internal reactions, and we haven't shared it with you because we want to get like a raw reaction. But before we do that, I want to cause trouble, like I said I was going to do last Thursday. And so you kind of catalyzed it with talking about Target. So, like, for everyone that doesn't know, Target lost 10% of their foot traffic this week because they're morons. And sorry, I'm who I am. I'm equally confident, and I'm also like not ashamed. So one thing I love when you because I've read through a whole bunch of stuff on your site, and we had a great conversation last week. The whole DEI thing isn't just about opportunities for the individuals in your program. It's to empower these organizations to do better at innovation and to be better at security, and be better at all these other things out there. And for stupid companies like Target and a whole bunch of other ones that I have a list. I'm maintaining lists of things now. I have a list of ones that have been short-sighted and have been, killing their DEI programs because of waves hands in the air. You all know what I'm talking about. So what are companies sacrificing when they do silly, stupid things like that? Like what is really going to be the ultimate thing that that company's going to lose out on because they're choosing to side with fear and whatever they're doing right now?
Profitability. I mean, we live in a global economy. At the end of the day, this is not just the United States. I'm sorry I said it. This is not just what's going on here. These are made up problems, right? And we need diversity because people have different experience. As you pointed out, the hacker culture, hackers don't care. They want talent and they want the best. And what companies are sacrificing by saying that only one demographic can be in these particular roles is not only their profitability, but their ability to relate to globally, because the world doesn't just have the same problems that the United States has with this whole idea that everybody is there, that there's only one demographic that's intelligent enough. I mean, I think I know it was U.S. General George Patton that says if everyone is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking. And so where I come from, the things that I've been through, all the things, the resume, all of those things that I've shared with you, and even go into, my first management role at UPS back in college, right? And so all of that to be said, you're missing the best of the best by being so narrowly focused on, air quotes, whatever is going on out there. We are putting ourselves in a position, and I can see this from various spaces. I can see this from the FBI perspective, FBI agent perspective. I can see as far as security of our country. I can see what you're doing as a leadership perspective when it starts to talk about the chilling effect that it has on, publicly denouncing some of these initiatives that you have. You can't, I'm not going to say that. You cannot. I was going to say it, Bob. You almost got me, but I'm not. I'm going to behave. No, I mean, you can't just decide that this is a bad thing when we know it's not true, because it doesn't ring true. It doesn't make sense. Right. The unity and the reason the United States has been successful is because we're a big old melting pot. We've leaned into these diversity of everybody to create something great. That's why everybody wanted to come over here. Right. Because it's like this is the land of opportunity. And now that we want to go back towards this idea that only one demographic can get these problems solved, it's ridiculous.
And companies that are pulling back and moving backwards on that mindset are going to be in a world of hurt whenever the companies that don't and the companies that continue on are the ones that are putting out more innovative products, more innovative applications, more tech forward or advanced widgets, whatever it may be, because of what you're saying, because of the multiple people in the room, the multiple people making decisions that have all different experiences and backgrounds that are going to see these things and see problems before they become problems, from start to finish, right? So that the output, the end goal, the end output of this widget or this device or whatever is going to have so much more thought around how it functions or whatever than the same things that are put out by companies that are having a very narrow group making these decisions, all from the same mindset, all from the same experience. And it's a very nearsighted decision that is going to have long-term consequences, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't feel bad for them when that happens.
No, not at all. I mean, I have people in my circle that are buying Costco memberships and don't even need to have them.
Yeah. Costco's a great example right now.
That's awesome.
All right, Bob, you got
So,
the poll up.
So Jordan asked, so we do it to X, we do it to Blue Sky, and we do it to where else? I keep forgetting, guys. LinkedIn. Yeah, sorry, that's why I forget it. Anyway, so what is the biggest barrier to a diverse cybersecurity team? I also can never remember which one of these is which, but one of them, this has to be X because it's black.
No, that's Blue Sky.
That's Blue Sky.
I
Yeah.
can tell
Oh,
by
they're,
the
what? Wait, they almost look the same. Well, look at
It's
They're
Blue
very
Sky,
good.
LinkedIn.
there's
and-
X. There's
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
X. Okay. So Blue Sky set. So not a lot of responses, but people bothered to respond. So it's almost evenly mixed except for retention challenges. So talent pipeline, unconscious bias, retention challenges, lack of mentorship, and kind of this. It's almost the same for all of them. Like it looks like, except on X, they completely abdicated unconscious bias from their stuff, and they all say talent pipeline issues popped up as the biggest one on there. So I'll give you a chance to like absorb these, but we're curious what your reaction to people's claims are the biggest barriers to a diverse cybersecurity team.
It went okay. So I'll take them individually. Talent pipeline issues is one of the reasons why we have MiC Talent Solutions, which is our recruitment arm. Where to look, right? I've used to. Where's all of the minority cybersecurity talent? Well, you know what? We have a large swath of minority cybersecurity talent from entry level to C level, right? And so it becomes a where are you looking? MiC Talent Solutions is a solution to this resource. I mean, as is a resource to help you with your talent pipeline issues. Unconscious bias is a reason why we lose talent, right? So the talent pipeline issues getting into the space is different from why they leave, because we have a leaky pipeline. So we have holes in our pipeline because they get into these organizations and they're not welcome, right? Or they feel isolated, or you'll see what's happening now across it as it relates to my conference. People are not wanting to show up because they feel like it's a negative thing, right? So they're dealing with these unconscious bias issues, these outright aggressions, and they don't want to affiliate themselves with an organization called Minorities in Cybersecurity because they don't want to receive any backlash from that internally. And unconscious bias, retention challenges go hand in hand. Unconscious bias is your culture. That's why people leave. That's why the pipe is leaking, because you're not focusing in on building the right environments that are successful for all. And then lack of mentorship, that is something that I can 100% agree with, which is why we have a mentorship program within Minorities in Cybersecurity to assist, because you need an outlet. Because, and you can watch some of our old stuff out there on YouTube, and some of the old keynotes from previous conferences. You need a community that you can actually lean into when it gets dark. I have plenty of examples of in my career when it got dark for me, and I needed my my board of directors, my community, to be able to say, okay, this is what I'm experiencing. I don't need you to fix it. I just need to talk to somebody about it, right? And that's where that mentorship in the community comes in.
I think one thing that always like stands on my face with these polls that I'm so fascinated with is, since they're on 3 different platforms, of course the winning answer is different, and so you can kind of tell the demographic or the folks answering it. And so on LinkedIn and on X, the lowest answer was unconscious bias, and that feels telling to me. Would you agree with that?
I would
platforms?
say that it depends on the answers of the people that were taking the poll, right? Because if you don't see unconscious bias as a problem if you don't feel it. And so if you don't break down the demographic of the individuals that are answering the poll, I can tell you
Right.
I've been a victim of unconscious bias. Glenn, have you?
Yeah.
So it becomes
yeah.
who's answering the question? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you ask
Yeah.
anybody, if you poll the MiC community those same questions, I think you'll probably get a
Yeah.
different set of answers, because people discount culture. and what's going on out there right now. Your culture, when your company says I don't support you, which is what stripping all of these DEI efforts are doing. When your company says that, then you're minimized and you could be handcuffed internally. And so now, if the company says it, if the CEO says it, then Joe Smo manager, he doesn't have a reason to respect you. Right. And so that is unconscious bias. And so when you're in that meeting, when you're working for Target and you're in the cybersecurity meeting and you're a person that's anything other than a heterosexual white male, and you're sitting there and your company has just said, I don't care. Why would the manager care? Why would your direct line manager give a darn? I almost did it. Why would your why would Bob is getting me? Bob is making, I'm looking at Bob and I'm like, no, Bob, I'm not gonna do it. But all that to be said, that's what it trickles down. And so now you have a morale issue because your frontline manager, who, may or may not be, feeling that you belonged on the team, now you have to deal with that. And so you won't feel it unless you're experiencing it. So that's the challenge.
It's also challenging because it's not like from a diverse point of view, you're against like the norm necessarily. Like it's just the acknowledgement that the business world, well, this is how I feel anyways. The acknowledgement that the business world was in this country was made for white males. Like, and we can see that in how voting in the past was. That's just like who all of the literature, the theory, everything is based around.
Yeah,
is
fact.
Yeah, arguably fact. But I don't think that ultimately, like, I think some of these discussions go the way of like, oh, if you're feeling this way, it must mean that you hate white males. And it's just like, no, I just want to be part of it. Like, I want to get
projecting. That's called projecting.
Yeah, I want to get my bag. I don't think it's going to prevent you from getting your bag of money.
Not at all. It's room enough for everybody. And, cutting off your nose to spite your face is just, it's just taking us to a place where we're moving backwards into a area that we're not going to be able to recover from if we don't have courage to just to hold hands, so to speak, and just toe the line. We're not moving backwards. We're going to stay here. We're not. And there are organizations like we've mentioned, Costco, that are saying, no, this is silly. This is a social war. This is not reality. They're very well known folks that have received Pulitzer prizes and all the things that you would Pulitzer prizes. There we go. Received all the things that you would consider to be intelligent that aren't heterosexual white male, right? And so to be able to nurture and grow your talent to be the best and brightest out there means you have to think about things in a different light. We are putting ourselves in a bind from a global security perspective by not solving or having people in the room that are helping us solve problems in a different way. It's flabbergasting to me that we're here, that we have to have these conversations, but we still need to have them.
One of the points that we hit upon in some of the pre-conversation was that it's not serving anybody to get quieter. We want to get louder, So if somebody listening is inspired by hearing your story and sees the same problem, is experiencing the same problem, how do you suggest finding the community to get louder with?
Come on, we're here. The MiC community is here, right? Miss Mary, as they affectionately call me in the community, we're not going to be quiet. I mean, I told you guys my mantra for the year: be visible, be vocal, never back down. That's my mantra. That's my personal mantra, that I'm here, which is why I'm on this podcast today, right? To be visible and be vocal. And if you want to be vocal, come on. Come on down to the MiC conference. It's in Dallas. We're gonna have some fun, but you have a community of people and a leader in myself that we don't have a choice to hide. That's not a real choice, right? That we need to lean into it and into our differences and become and have individuals that are around you that are like-minded, and just say, okay, this is what you need to do, and get advice, right? You may not want to go into your corporate job and start screaming at the top of your lungs, but we can come give you the tools that you can quietly speak the same thing. How about that?
I want to pull on this thread because clearly community is important for so many groups and types of people. Like, it doesn't matter. Community, I mean, that's a human nature, like, need. And thinking about your comment on unconscious bias and things leading to kind of a leaky pipe where you're not having good retention. Maybe you do attract the talent, or a company organization does all the right, quote, all the right things to start getting a very diverse applicant pool. And then they're like, why are people leaving? We're not able to retain them. But that goes back to kind of the community, where I can't speak for like for everyone here, but cybersecurity in general, like just as a industry, is a very small community overall. So we run into each other a lot at the same conferences. We know a lot of the same mutual contacts after a few years. And if you're an a-hole, then people that you've never met learn that you're an a-hole, right? And so thinking about how that applies to organizations who might like attract and get folks in, but not retain them because they're being a-holes, or they're not supporting them or listening or amplifying them, is another way of like looking at like kind of the holistic picture of why these communities are important. Like, communities can help you get through, but communities can also give you an avenue to learn like who is doing well and not well in the space, as far as like how they're treating folks. And then again, eventually the folks that are doing the right thing, making the right decision, supporting all people of all types in their organization, are going to be the ultimate winners in the end, as far as any metric, like profitability, employee happiness, innovations, like all of those things are going to come from that. So I just want to kind of pull back or call back to like how the community is so important in every step of the way, whether it's starting out or whether it's maintaining or whether it's advancing.
Absolutely. And the profession can seem, for underrepresented groups, very lonely because it's spread out. And so the MiC community is a community that lets you know that we are out there, and we are each one teach one, support one, right? We are here to help you not only get into the space, but flourish in the space through our programs, as well as our the overall community and us coming together in our annual conference. So it's just finding the right places, right? Finding the right support system out there. And you're right, Glenn, it's cybersecurity. We need community as human beings, right? And that's what we're missing with a lot of what's going on out there that is proliferated through social media. We're missing human connectedness. So
I've got one more. It's another troublemaker one, but so two of us on this podcast have had the benefit of privilege for our entire existence, and we're, for lack of a better phrase, we are in very safe spots. Like, not a whole lot can really come down upon us just due to the biological nature of what we are right now. So for folks like Glenn and me, and everyone out there like that, what are the maybe 1 to 3 things that we can do to help make a difference, to be there to support this work, to just basically help the whole mission get passing the mic in cyber as it were, and just in general, but like especially at this time, because this is a really dangerous time. So what can we do to be a help and not just sit back and just coast along like everybody else seems to be doing?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And one thing you can ask yourself, if you look around you and everyone looks like you might want to rethink your hiring strategies. The second is places like this. You know, this is a safe space, and I'll let you guys know. Bob told me I can be whatever I wanted to be and say whatever I wanted to say, and you know, he's in my head as I'm giving you my words, but giving a platform, right, and listening and not taking it personally, not believing that just because we're pro black or pro brown or pro women that means anti-white heterosexual males. It's not the same thing. And you know, you go to school, you get the education, you get the certifications, you should have a shot based upon your effort, right? And so having spaces like this to be able to have conversations and just listen. We don't listen to each other anymore. We don't ask questions. I used to love to have diverse conversations with individuals that I worked with, and I gave them the permission, you know, to ask me questions, to be able to just knock down these stereotypical ideas of what it means to be something different than a heterosexual white male. We all have different experiences. We all have similar experiences. You know, I'm a gun owner. I do Krav Maga. I work out. You know, you can teach me about the skiing thing. I mean, we can have a conversation about some of the stuff that I just don't, I don't do. I tried to do it, but I don't really know how to do it. Let's just have a conversation. Let's have some fun together. So that's my advice.
I find so much joy in like diverse conversation. Because there are some things I would never know about unless I talk to somebody who is very different from me. And like my community, the 801 Labs community in Salt Lake City, the hackerspace that I help run is a very diverse place, very neurodivergent place. And there just continuously are people there that like look at something in a way that I would never look at it. And I think that's like the joy in all of this is if your community is feeling very isolated, there's probably something that you can do to bridge somewhere, is my guess. Yeah. I want to make sure to really highlight the fact that like you're having a whole conference around this in Dallas, and you have before. This is what year of the conference?
This is our third annual.
Oh. Yeah, and you know, I think people should make it out there. You don't have to be a Texan. It sounds like you can be from anywhere.
No, you do not. There's a lot of people that come in from out of town. I mean, again, we as a nonprofit, we're in 10 countries, 32 cities in DC. And so, you know, we have some folks coming over from the Pacific Island countries, Fiji, and oh goodness gracious, where is Pua coming from? But yeah, we have individuals coming over from there. So yeah.
Wow,
really
that's
awesome.
An amazing network to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good community to build, right? And we're continuing to grow and continuing to, you know, because honestly, there are organizations or countries out there that have cybersecurity needs that are having the same challenges as far as women leadership, as far as, you know, tapping into diverse populations and their leadership and things like that. Of course, we are at the United States a little different than some of the majority brown countries that we actually deal with, but it's still the same thing, and trying to just get your voice heard. Voice heard. There we go. I got it out.
As we get a little close to time, I just want to make sure that we get to re-mention that, you know, we posted the link. It'll be in the show notes as well. But yeah, the organization Minorities in Cybersecurity is nonprofit. They obviously take donations. You can sponsor someone to attend the conference if you would like. You can attend the conference, of course, if you would like, at the end of March. But the reason that I love Mary's org so much is it's almost like an all-inclusive, like we have removed the excuses for you, because they've built the community. There's apprenticeships you can hire through them, and they do the leadership training. So it's in many ways it's better than another way of hiring, right? Because you know that they're going to have, I don't know, is it monthly, quarterly check-ins and continuing education throughout the year, all of these different things. Where when we had a pre-show chat last week, Mary, I don't know if she wants me to say this, but she basically was like, when folks leave here, they're a representative of us, of the organization. So it's almost like the proud parent, like, you represent us now, so don't go out there and screw this up for everybody, right? Because if you screw it up, then someone's going to be less likely to, maybe recruit the next person behind you or whatever. So it's a really excellent program. Track record's getting established. So if keep it in mind, but also if you feel inclined, there are ways to support our organization as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we take all donations, 501c3, all of them. Yeah. Come to the conference, come have some fun. And most importantly, if you're looking for cybersecurity talent, we stand 100% behind the talent that we're developing.
Yeah. I would say if a company wants to reach out to you to get in contact for those services, that's Mary is a very adept businesswoman. Is what I've learned in the past couple of hours of the talks that we've had overall.
Yeah, we need to do more. We should I don't know, have I don't want to say a check-in, but like this should be a continuing conversation in some way.
Absolutely.
Because there's going to be there already is, but there's obviously going to be even more changes in this on the attitude of this space, trying to say it. And I'm still, Bob makes fun of me, I'm still of the like strong resistance mindset of the suppression is going to continue, but the pressure that it's building underneath it is going to keep increasing, and then it's going to be a big backlash. So I'm not giving up hope yet, but say it again, like be loud, be what was your what was
be
your mantra?
visible, be vocal, be visible, be vocal, never back down. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. That is wonderful.
I love a motto, especially one that hits hard like that.
I also want to just say that 2 really powerful ways to vote, using air quotes, are your time and your money, and where you spend those 2 things.
Absolutely.
It's true. Yeah. Every day you get to vote.
Well, thank you so much, Mary.
Yeah.
No, and anything, if you want me back on, just let me know. That'll be awesome. We can continue the conversation. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the platform.
I have to shout out Melanie for introducing us, Mary. We
got to give Mel some love. Yeah. You got to show Mel some love. She's probably listening.
Oh, with our last 3 minutes here, 2 minutes. Bob, do you want to show off some blogs, some content that our various companies have produced?
Yeah, we're gonna have to take some time next episode to maybe go through them too, because we're not gonna have any time to go through them all. I'll just introduce them real quick, everybody. Census, as usual, like the team over there is brilliant. I'm not just saying that because one of them's here. The lurking threat of edge security projects. That is an actual threat. We'll probably talk about this in a couple of weeks, but we saw some really bad things Friday that we kind of blasted on social media, and this ties in perfectly with it. So we'll dig into this next week. And also, you keep hitting out of the park over at Voluncheck, both like with the Black Basta. You guys went through the Black Basta chat logs, yanked out all the CVEs. Glenn used them for some stuff over here. This is a great blog. You got to read
Patrick
this one.
had so much fun with this one.
Yeah. But Pete, he always does a fun job with things. And I think we might, if you want to talk about it or have someone else talk about it, because I don't know if this is like a boring thing or not for you, but this whole SSVC that you support and your platform helps and you have guidance for is really great for enterprises. I do think we need to talk about this at some point in the next week or two.
We can nerd out about it.
Everybody can sort of read the blog about Salt Typhoon. We're going to not talk about it anymore. And we have this Thursday, we are releasing our third annual mass internet exploitation report. Lots of secret information in it. And listen, I didn't put for everyone that's watching this.
Ignore the TLP, right?
This is all Noah. This is no thanks for embarrassing.
There's
me,
an
Noah.
actual
Really appreciate it, Noah.
ex-FBI agent on the chat right now,
who
and
knows
you
what
just
TLP
throw-
red means, and this is not. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. I'm so sorry.
It's just having a little fun. Just a little fun.
It's because we should have put under embargo because that's why we did it, but it's okay. It's adorable. It's cyber. So
It's all good.
Our closer today. Who in your community are you going to reach out to this week? I'm starting with you, Bob.
I mean, I reach out a lot every single day for this, but I'm going to continue to promote this a lot more than I currently do. And I've in separate from that, Glenn and I were talking the other day about trying to get this program as part of our 2026 hiring initiatives as well too. So I think we're going to try to actually put our money where our podcast mouths are for this one.
Yeah, GreyNoise is the most diverse place I had ever worked in my life. For the record. Glenn, what about you?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel put on the spot. Inspire me. What?
Kimber, you know better than to ask him up front. He needs to wait till we all answer. So he
I
can
have
steal
to
one of
copy someone
ours.
else's question. I mean, Kimber's got me hooked up with someone that I think I'm mentoring him. Am I?
Are we mentoring?
I think so. But yeah, and then promoting the conference of Mary's at the end of March, and I was really, because it's not even far from me, really hoping to go, but I have conflicts 2 of the 3 days, so I don't think it's gonna work out. And then the time I can go down, Mary, they have a lot of fun events planned the conference.
Dude, they have so much fun going on.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
so I don't know if I'm even gonna see. I'm hoping to at least see Mary in the lobby or something.
Your boss said you could take the day. Just FYI, he did say that. Your boss did mention that the other day. So okay.
Hemija, what do you got?
There's also another conflict I have to deal with, but anyway, that's for off air.
I'm gonna reach out to Glenn to offer mental support. I'm kidding. You're doing great.
Wow, is that obvious?
You're doing great, sweetie.
we're all doing our best. I am part of 2 employee resource groups at Census, the women's and our queer ERG, and so I am going to reach out to both of them and tell them about MiC.
Oh, what's your women's called? Because I know this. I just think it's funny.
It's Women at Census Kick Ass.
But it's
because they do. Wackas.
Yeah.
We have a little superhero emoji as well. Little logo.
Cool. I didn't know that. I learned a thing about Census this week. Mary, who are you reaching out to this week that's interesting or exciting?
Well, I'm talking to our 50 apprentices that just started on Thursday. So
Mary's like tired.
Yeah. Well, they have to have their opportunity to talk to the CEO and answer any questions. Again, for me to ask any question, for them to ask any questions of me. I think it's important as a leader to be able to touch points. So I spend 15 minutes with all 50 apprentices as they start. We have cohorts in March and September. So I get busy right before the conference. So that's who I'm reaching out to.
That's awesome. Well, I'm dibsing this as my reach out this week.
This was great.
This was great. This is wonderful. Thank you again, Mary. We really appreciate you and your existence and your company, your society of sorts. So thank you for gracing us with your presence.
And also, if anyone in MiC is like has a thing to promote, thing to talk about, or a tool or something they've come across, an investigation, whatever, right? Because we're all cybersecurity focused. Would love to have folks on just whenever, anytime. and we can have a an in-depth talk about a topic or something that energizes them and nerd out on it. That's always
absolutely.
fun
My
too.
community, you know how Miss Mary feels about branding, and Glenn just offered an opportunity. So if you're
1000%, yes.
you're listening and you have something to talk about, send me an email. I'll give it to Glenn.
Let's go.
All right. I am so excited to read the AI closer right now. It is time. And that's a wrap on this episode of GreyNoise Stormwatch. Remember, whether you're navigating the stormy skies of cybersecurity leadership gaps, patching up edge device leaks, or bracing for ransomware gusts from groups like Black Basta, staying prepared is half the battle. Until next time, keep your systems patched, your networks monitored, and your umbrellas handy, because the forecast for security is always a little cloudy with a chance of chaos. Bye!